It is the rasp of horses ridden too hard, too long, or by someone too heavy. In this case, it rises from pulling a stagecoach driven by Sam Pitkovich, who is loaded up with a rifle, a shotgun, and 3 pistols that all rattle as he dismounts. "Marshal, there's a whole heap of Indians down by the river," he says and grips his rifle as if he could see them from here. And there's 100 of them, Sam blurts out, "headed this way." 100 Indians. Did you count them? No, but I saw plenty, dozens and dozens of them, men and women, both bedding down in the twilight. Braves and squaws. What about children? Yes, them too. Sam nods, then gives a long blink. Oh, does that mean? Means they're a village on the move, not a war party on a raid. Oh, well, all right then, Sam says, then sits himself down with a thud. No reason to get worked up. You know, I think I could do with a nap. That was too far a drive, and I had to give up my horse to run the stage. Now, do I want to ask about your horse? For the last time, the horse came up lame and I left it at the stage, Sam says pointedly. Indians. Lots of Indians. They're on the move and headed this way, but there hasn't been a hint of trouble from them. With all those horses and mules, they were moving slow. Hard to say what to expect from a village on the move, though, especially considering the women and children, but whenever two peoples brush up against one another, there's always a chance for trouble. Most of the time there isn't, people being cautious about strangers. Often there's an exchange of gifts, buffalo hides for iron or worked goods. That usually leaves everyone happy. You can only hope that will be true here. Find Dan. A quick check of Donna's house finds no sign of Dan's horse or mule. Apparently that dinner and night in at the Grand Haven Hotel flung him back out into the wild again. Alright, Miss Carroll, you're coming with me then. Strangely enough, you don't find her in any of the saloons. She might be out testing that powder and who knows what. Alright, Preston. You find Preston in the sitting room of the Grand Haven Hotel. Blue smoke rises from a thick cigar between his fingers as he gazes out upon the still dark streets. When he takes a puff, the end flares and sets his gold ring to gleaming in the sulphur light. Indians, he tells you straight away. Yes, I heard already. Sam might have the worst luck I've ever seen, but he doesn't compound it by keeping secrets. Nor should you. If there's trouble, light up higher, so we'll all know. Yeah, I could use some trade goons to earn the Indians' goodwill. Smart. Lead may be cheap, but not when you're paying for it by the volley. Preston notes as he taps the ash of his cigar. I'll get you something. Matthew's got to have a box of pretty knickknacks he can throw together quick. All right, we'll set out at dawn to find the Indians. Come the dawn, you set out alone. Your saddlebacks jingle with every bounce of your grulla, laden as they are with trade goods. Soon enough you see them, a long line of silhouettes moving against the rising sun. As Sam said, a whole lot of Indians. In pairs they struggle to cross a swollen river. Close to 100 of them, with twice as many horses and mules. The men guide the animals across, while the women and children labor on a dozen rafts that are set to float across. Heap them with all manner of cloth and leather, chests and sacks. This is a village, or at least a fair number of lodges on the move. Rather late in the year, too. The whining of a horse sounds out, and you turn to find a familiar figure riding close. An Indian in shirt sleeves with a crisp collar. Yiska, up from Elko. Yiska tenders over a nod. He rides right up and settles in beside you. Yiska raises a hand to shade the morning sun and squints toward the Indian column. Shoshone, Eastern tribe, I think. Not Bannock, certainly. Too many women with them. Also, we're not being shot at. The two of you watch as a quartet of Indians finishes crossing the river. Those 4 leap astride their horses and ride bareback toward you with a slow gait. No spears, no guns, no war feathers or paint, Yiska observes. They want to talk, Tahoma. Nothing more. A good thing, too. 30 braves are worth 100 soldiers. You translate for me? Tragedies have their seeds in misunderstanding, and while I do enjoy a good tragedy, comedies are more of a bromide for the soul. Yiska explains and lets his answer rest a moment. That means yes. Any idea why they're out here? Several, but it boils down to either they have very good luck or very bad. What do you mean, good luck or bad? To be out this late in the year means they were delayed in reaching their winter camp. Either they reveled in their good fortune or were struggling against the ill. Yiska explains. We shall know more shortly. Do you know their leader? I expect I will know of him, even if I have never met the man. Greet the coming riders and find out what's going on. The Indians slow to a walk as they ride close. The foremost of them, a handsome if weathered fellow who bears a necklace of bare teeth flush upon his chest, raises a hand. Hello, allons-nous parler dans cette langue? He says slowly in French. Restons avec notre langue natale. Yiska replies. Okay, now we're moving into territory that I find a bit harder to pronounce than French. Nangi nananga shoshni newe. The other answers in the Shoshone language as he lays a hand over his heart. Chabun shea datsit tia. Yiska gives his own name and then gestures towards you. Ika newe nananga ene, Marshal Calamity Smith, also known as Tahoma. Marshal, this is Tabun Shea, chief of the Six Horns. Tell him many people were. Tell him that it is an honor to meet him. Yiska translates and Tabun Shea responds in equally measured tones. It is the same for him. He has heard much of Tahoma, the Tin Star. He says that others know of you and speak well of it, that your color keeps your neck stiff even when you sleep, but know that his people are their own and do not need the laws of another. Yiska pauses to catch a breath as Tabun Shea continues to talk. Tabun Shea has not heard dark tellings of your deeds. Indeed, he must strain to hear your whispers above the wind. I would like to discuss what can be done to help his people. Tabun Shea leans forward ever so slightly atop his steed and gestures for you to talk. Why are you on the move so late in the year? The chief gives the soft sigh and speaks with a darker tone as Yiska translates. There were many buffalo at Bighorn Basin. We hunted them for some while, taking our ease and roasting strips long into the night. Too long, it seems, for the Apaches came to call, and 2 of our warriors went to the stars in turning them back. Even then, many horses were lost and scattered. By the time those were rounded back up, many suns had set. Okay, tell me of them. The Apaches. The chief stares over at you in small surprise, and his tone is incredulous as Yiska translates. If you have never heard of the Apaches, then consider yourself fortunate and do not stray from this valley. There are no more capable or cruel warriors than the Indi. Long had they opposed the Spanish, long had they opposed the Mexican, long will they oppose all who do not speak Mescalero. We fought those of the White Mountain. Though we were many more than they yet took our horses and killed 2 of our young braves. Even then we considered ourselves fortunate. How would I defeat these Apache? The chief narrows his gaze upon you. With many men, with many guns. Gather their women and children and hold them hostage, and even then you may find only defeat despite years of struggle. Where are your people headed? The chief speaks a while before Yiska catches on to the translation. He's saying they wish to reach the Green Deer Valley before the first snow blows. There they will eat roots and catch fish until winter removes itself from their sight. That far away? The chief gives a little nod and gestures southwesterly toward a distant place that all but clips the corner of Preston Springs. You hardly need Yiska's translation to know what he's saying. It is a long walk. We should have begun when the moon had last been full. When we reach that place, our feet will be sore but unbloodied. And you would stay in Green Deer Valley until spring? Yes, the chief says in English, then returns to the Shoshone tongue as Yiska resumes translation. It is a good place, but we will eat up all that is there when the dry summer comes. Okay. Some goods here you might be interested in bartering before you head on your way. Your people must turn back. Do what you want around these parts, just don't cross me. Your people will need to pay a toll for crossing the... hostages, no thank you. You've come to the wrong place. No. Yeah, stay... bartering? Some of the top 3. Yeah, I'd prefer they stay away from the town as to not provoke an incident. Tabun Shea lets Yiska's translation linger for a moment before speaking again. Your words have been kind and filled with concern. We of the 6 Horns shall keep from the bounds of Tahoma's lands and raise not a hand against any we find, for we know that friendship soars above us and waits only for the winds before it shall swoop down beside us. The 6 Horns Indians are as good as their word and are soon on their way in peace. Yiska looks to you with definite respect. That went well enough, did it not? I'm glad you came back to town. I have friends, but none such as you. A lie, but sure. A fine compliment, and I must return it. You're something of a tyrant, but one who does not close the iron fist. Yiska says, then gives a nod towards Preston Springs. But we should head back. No doubt you have as much work as I. The river is a swollen, muddy snake that gurgles its way down south. As you watch bits of wood swirl atop the silted waters in an eddy before they are sucked downstream with a stunning rapidity, the little trickle that had been there in the months before is now but a memory. Yiska points to a shattered tree trunk. Landslide. A whole grove of trees must have come down up in the mountains. That could be enough to block the river. Sure. Figure out where the flood is going to happen while I'm out here. It takes only a little bit to figure out where the river has flooded before. The ground there is darker and the green sparser, and if it happened once before, it'll probably happen again. Just a stone's throw from the river, Preston Springs placidly goes on about its business. No one much seems to notice or care about the impending flood. Clearly that needs to change. As you near the Grand Haven Hotel, the sheriff and owner of the town emerges with a pair of his deputies in tow. Even in a starched shirt with a high white collar, a coal black coat, and matching silver cufflinks, he still manages to prowl like a wolf. Marshal, Preston says, and idly extracts a tight-wrapped cigar from his vest pocket. The crinkle of the paper is a crisp crackle that heralds over the aroma of well-aged tobacco. Down the way, you catch sight of Schmidt as he leaves the Assayers. Miss Carroway leans out the Motherlode saloon and watches with a tumbler of whiskey gripped in hand. Ignore Preston, remove what I need from office, and leave town. I need a 3-foot ditch dug around the town. Doesn't have to be filled with anything because the river will do that for us. A 3-foot ditch? Preston blinks at your request, and more than a few people turn your way in surprise. We'd never finish that in time. Maybe you won't, with your soft hands and trim beard. Then we're in trouble. No one seems all that eager to get to work. No one has so much as a spade, but you have time to gather more given the slow rise of the river. You've just been conscripted. You get over here. I'm gonna set you to work. I think we can probably do a few of these. Yeah, Dan, round up some people. I'll get on that. Dan promises, then hurries off. Before long, he is back with more than a few friends, most of whom tote their own shovels. There are a sizable number of hands looking for some direction. Nearly everyone has a pick or shovel. Yeah, Miss Carroway, go grab some people. Can do, she promises. Before long, she's back with a few friends. There are plenty of people willing to pitch in. Nearly everyone has a pick or shovel. You, all of them, come over here. Your orders make some people pay attention. A few blow you off, but by the time you're done yelling, there is a little crowd waiting to be told what to do. You have a large crowd willing to get to work. Okay. Preston, people you can pull a favor from, come on. Stands to reason. Preston agrees. All my little favors won't matter much if this town gets washed down river. He turns and starts calling out people by name on the streets. Just like that, people start coming over. We've got a large crowd willing to get to work. Matthew, any shovels or picks in the general store? Borrow? Matthew asks and idly runs his fingers down the crisp white storekeeper's apron he always wears. Out on the street, he seems more like a pillar of snow than anything else. Yep, borrow. Get me? I don't want to lose what I got, that's for certain. Matthew agrees warily. I'll chip in the few picks and shovels that I've got lying around. The man proves as good as his word. It's not much, but at least he'll feel good about adding them to the immense pile. Okay. Just about everyone has a pick or a shovel, and some people have two. Great. Listen up, everyone. Time to start sweating because there's a whole river worth of trouble coming at us. The sprawling crowd edges forward, eagerly to hear your words. Most everyone leans against a shovel or taps a pick. The easiest thing to do is to shore up the buildings. A few braces in the right place might make the difference between walls standing and crashing down. But if with enough help, you might well dig a series of ditches around town to blunt the flow and drain it out afterward. With enough hands and proper tools, as well as a good sighting, you might be able to force the river to flood elsewhere, away from the town. Of course, if you get the math wrong, the town is going to get hit awfully hard. For that matter, if you've got the numbers and equipment, a levy isn't an impossibility. Trouble is, though, it might prevent any harm to the town. It will be a pain to complete in time. What's my mathematical skills? Engineering 20%. Well, we're not doing that then. No, probably not. Yeah. Ditches, whole lot of them. The waters are going to come, that is for certain, but they don't have to turn the town into a pond. A ditch or berm in the right places might do a lot of good. Preston gives a soft cough, a prompt for you to commence. Get started on the digging. The river seems a distant thing from inside the town limits. The town doesn't have anything but hope to keep the water back. There are a lot of free hands left and plenty of shovels and picks left. The question now is, what is a berm? Dig a parameter to divert some of the water. Sure, let's start with that. You set a group to the edge of the town with instructions to dig trenches perpendicular to the expected flood. They start in with pick and shovel and make a steady progress. With everything going on, the river can't even be heard. The town needs more work, that is for certain. A lot of free hands left and plenty of shovels and picks. Sure, protect saloons and businesses. You set a group along Main Street with instructions to dig trenches straight out of town. With the dirt they move, they will set about constructing a berm. They start in with pick and shovel, make a steady progress. Every now and then you catch the distant gurgle of the river. Okay. Protect the houses. You set a crew to work on trenches that head straight out of town. The dirt that is lifted out will then become the berm. They start digging and soon the work is well underway. The trickle of the river can be heard above the general din. The work is really getting there, just a little more and you can be sure the river won't just swamp the place. Okay. Protect my office, please. You detail a group of men to attend your office. They grumble a bit of the blatant self-serving nature of that, but still put their backs into it. They ply their picks and shovels both, and soon your office is well protected. You can hear the rush of the river even from in town. Another ditch or two, and you can rest easier knowing that the river won't completely wreck the place. Okay, dig ditches to slowly drain away the water after the flood strikes. You detail a group to dig long ditches to help water flow to the outskirts of town. The crew sets to work with a will, and soon enough several trenches are dug. Abruptly the river begins to roar. Get to high ground. You watch the river crest the banks in a white foaming fury and then come crashing down toward the town. When it strikes the perimeter ditch, it loses some momentum. The wave sweeps straight on through the streets to carry a layer of mud, hitching posts and loose boards along with it. But after that initial rush, the water becomes little more than a still pond, a muddy mess that slowly begins to drain away. The saloons took a bit of a pounding though, and only the hotel remains high and dry. The houses have fared well and just need to have their floors washed. The townsfolk step out to survey the damage, and more than one eye turns to you as well. You catch sight of a floating board, once designed for the general store. Atop it, dry as a bone, sits your little Mousy. The little fella idly grooms his whiskers as he floats on past. Preston steps over with an unlit cigar in hand. That could have been worse, much worse. Shouldn't take long until things are back to normal. Splashes sound out as townsfolk set about cleaning up after the flood with buckets and brooms as need be. Indeed, I'm feeling charitable. Preston notes, then pauses to take a puff and let blue smoke rise. So, if you have something to ask of me, now would be a good time. Yeah, your word that you will not seek to limit my jurisdiction within the bounds of the town. I can do that. Don't want to, but I suspect that won't matter none anymore. People like a winner, and right now you're a fast horse. Preston relates as he eases a match out of a pocket. So if I give you a hard time about it, just remember I ain't just saying it to you. Here in Preston Springs, your badge is about as good as mine. Law increased and legal understanding slightly increased. Very well. Yeah, let it go. Well, at least we were able to enjoy the fresh air, Yiska remarks. Offer your hand to shake, sure. Yiska grasps your hand firmly. And so, farewell. There you are, Marshal. A lovely voice tinged with the accent of Mexico calls over. You turn to find Maria Agustina just down the way. She draws near and seems to all but glide across the muddy walkway. Her golden-haired bodyguard follows behind her. Strangely, her Uncle Carlos is not to be seen. Maria, what brings you out? I saw the flood. Now I wish to assist in the aftermath. A solid thump of boots and boards rings out as Carlos Gustavo stumps over with a spade loose in hand. An intricate cap, adorned with military flourishes in red thread, has been tucked behind his belt to let the last few strands of his hair shift in the breeze. Paula Trinidad, but this could have been far worse, he remarks. Yeah, I know the river did a number in the town here, but I expect it'll recover soon. Oh, people here do have vigor, Carlos admits and holds up his spade. And while some may dismiss mano de obra, I have long learned that a little digging may save many lives. A little sweat is good for the soul, Maria agrees. Well, Carlos, you seem well. The river ran its course and I followed mine, Carlos indicates, and much of this now involves tying barley to the tail of a dead donkey. Tying, not trying. You have a similar proverb about horses and barns, I believe, Maria notes. So, the hermitage? As well as can be expected. Likely less so given the troubles here. The monks have already prepared the fields for spring and begun to chisel at the stone. I expect the effort of which shall become part of their daily routine. Maria considers. Perhaps in 100 years it shall be complete, and they shall set to work on the nearby mountains. But until then I expect they shall quarry the stone to local towns in return for what few necessities they might need. A life of singular dedication, Carlos puts in. I myself am somewhat envious of them for such simplicity. For myself, out of sight, out of mind, and when dead, buried. It's not enough to be alive, one must be involved, Maria indicates. Let it wrap up. Well, we must be moving along, Carlos says as he makes a grand gesture toward the muddy street. A little supervision of the recovery is in order. Until next time, Maria remarks and then lets Carlos conduct her away. Their golden-haired bodyguard gives you a parting nod and follows. You and the Mexican lady sure talked a while, Dan calls out as he stumps over. The big prospector carries a heavy, dirty spade in one hand and a muck bucket in the other. I mean, it don't matter to me none what you all do, or what you do all private like. I just wanted to stop by. You helping with the cleanup? Course I am, Dan replies. Wouldn't be right not to help out friends, but afterward I'm going to start panning. After a flood it's always easy. Looks like you have your hands full there. I do. Empty hands are bad things. If you don't watch out, they'll fill up with things you don't really want. Go on, talk a bit. I see smoke. Thick black gouts of it. I expect trouble. Lots of trouble. You turn to look, and there in the north a great gout of black smoke threatens to blot out the sun. Oh. And that is the end of chapter 6. So it was chapter 6 overall, after all. Alright. I actually looked it up, and the game consists of 10 chapters. That's all I know. But I know there is 10, so we're now over halfway through. Let's take a quick look at our stats. Law is very much the priority here. We're healthy. We've got money, not a lot, but we do have some money. Honor is still important. Order is important. That's very well. Our stats are okay, especially our fighting skills and our survival. Writing, legal, engineering, what is that? Explosives. Sort of ties in with low engineering. We're just not really the type. Persuasion, though, very good. Intimidation, pretty decent. Stamina, resolve, it's okay. Influence, Albion. Was that the priest dude? I think so. I don't really remember anyone else with whom I could have a bad relationship with. I like Yiska a lot. Maria certainly. Miss Carraway. Dan Schmidt. Carson. Who is Carson? I only know Carson City. I don't remember who Carson is. Hartigan. Decent as well. And Marshall James. 55%. Alright. Okay. I think that'll do it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.